I personally believe that humans are wired to give back. So think about this, right? When you buy a shoe or a car for yourself, the satisfaction that you get from it lasts for a day or 2 days or 3 days. After 3 days, it becomes an old thing that you just bought for yourself. When you help someone, whether it's a child or an animal or whatever it is that's close to your heart, when you go out and help, how long does that last? You will be looking back at it 10 years from now and feel good. Feel good about, oh, I helped someone, right?
In 2015, world leaders agreed to 17 global goals, officially known as Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs. It's now 5 years on, and we have more work than ever to do. These goals have the power to create a better world by 2030 by ending poverty, fighting inequality, and addressing the urgency of climate change. Guided by the goals, it is now up to all of us, government, businesses, civil societies, and the general public to work together to build a better future for everyone. Hello and welcome to the Honest Talk by Freak Folks. I'm Harsh Pandey. For this particular session, our guest will be Ms. Manna Dabholkar ma'am. She currently holds the position of Chief Executive Officer at GIFT Global Initiative. She is also the global representative to the Royal Family Office, United Arab Emirates, Commissioner on Human Rights Commission, international investment consultant, and a keynote speaker. With over a decade of leadership experience in the profit and non-profit sector and a unique educational background, Ambassador Dabholkar stands at the intersection of purpose and profit. Her passion for public service inspired her to study international human rights law and business. She spearheaded operation for the American Red Cross as the chief operation officer. Today, under her vision and leadership, GIFT serves over 10,000 children every year. GIFT launches several programs such as pop-up school, mobile health clinics, solar lights, clean water, sanitation, GCI work, jobs and entrepreneurship initiative, mental health therapy through music, urban agriculture relation to the children from lower income neighborhood and more. And I believe her profile has so many things, so many glories, which I won't be able to explain in a few minutes. But I'm pretty sure during this conversation, we are going to learn a lot from her. She will be joining us today all the way from Los Angeles, California. So first of all, ma'am, I welcome you to in this session. Thank you so much for joining and agreeing to share your thoughts with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, ma'am. It's our pleasure. So moving to the topic of today's session, which we have chosen is equality and equity in a sustainable world. The future is in SDGs. Let me first tell my viewers that the definition of equality and equity. Equality means each individual or group or people is given the same resources or opportunities. Equity recognizes that each person has a different circumstances and allocates the exact resources and opportunity needed to each an equal outcome. Ma'am, my very first question to you is, do you think the future will be more towards equity, not just about equality?
Um, Great question. And you're right. Every person comes from a different situation. As you know, we deal with 10,000 children every year, and every child comes from a family with a different upbringing and different
Correct.
situation, different culture, different country. So we, the foundation of GIFT is on sustainability. It's on making sure that these families don't have to rely on outside sources like governments or nonprofits or other entities throughout their life. The goal should always be to teach them how to fish instead of providing them with a fish. So it's a great thing that people are talking about equality and equity and all those things. But I feel like in this, the larger conversation needs to be on the approach. It's not the end goal, but how do we get there, right? We all know that we need to bring opportunities to these families, but how are we doing that? Are we mindful about giving back? Even not just corporations, think about individuals as well, right? You and I. So how do we give? Are we more proactive? about giving, or are we more reactive? Do you give only when you see that a child is suffering, or you are proactive and say, oh, I know there are a lot of kids who are in poor neighborhoods, poor communities, have no food, no education. Let me make sure that before something bad happens to the child, I can bring them opportunity for education, medical care, whatever it is that they need to come up from the situation. I think we need to focus as a society, we need to focus on that, instead of all these things sound really amazing. And as you know, I speak for all these organizations, whether it's UN Women, name it. But conversation is great, but I prefer action. I prefer focusing on the process and the strategies to get there.
That's really good. I think, ma'am, you have told many important things, and the point which you have told that conversations are great, but we need to work on the ground level to see what are the things we can do on our personal levels. I think that will be really great. Ma'am, also let me tell my viewers that she is doing very great work with childrens all around the world, and I think this is something we all need to genuinely appreciate, and we all need to learn from it. Ma'am, my very next question to you is: in your opinion, what is the biggest challenge to achieving equity over equality?
Biggest challenge. I think it's awareness.
Correct.
It's really awareness. It's I personally believe that humans are wired to give back. So think about this, right? When you buy a shoe or a car for yourself, the satisfaction that you get from it lasts for a day or 2 days or 3 days. After 3 days, it becomes an old thing that you just bought for yourself. When you help someone, whether it's a child or an animal or whatever it is that's close to your heart, when you go out and help, how long does that last? You will be looking back at it 10 years from now and feel good about, oh, I helped someone, right? I feel like the more we make people aware of that, because personally, I feel I've spent 15 years doing this work, and you would be amazed how many people are not aware of or not mindful about giving. So we need to be mindful. We need to be aware. We need to be educated. And when I say we, yes, of course, it's me as well. Just because I'm in this world doesn't mean I know everything. Just opening up your eyes and your ears and listening to other people. And that's what we lack. We all think that we know more just because you're on social media and we have books and we go to school. There's a big difference between intellect and intelligence. Your intellect comes from your books, from your school. Your intelligence comes from work in the field. And that makes you more aware and mindful. And that's my biggest challenge dealing with humans in my field of work, is people are not aware about things.
Very true. Again, ma'am, it was a very insightful answer from your side on many levels, and you have told many important things. And I think we all need to understand and learn from you about all these things. Ma'am, my next question to you is: as you have told, there is a problem with the awareness. For the goal to be met, everyone need to do their part: government, the private sector, civil society, and the general public. The goal affect all 7 billion people on earth, and for them to be met, it's crucial that everyone is aware and have knowledge of them. Only then can we take the action and contribute to making the world a better place. But ma'am, my question to you is: do you think all people, those who are aware about it, are actually committed towards it? Leave the people, those who are not aware about it.
So there are tricks and techniques to make people committed to it. Let's talk about corporations, for instance. What is trending right now? Social impact initiatives. The next generation that's going to be your customer base believes in giving back. They want to associate and buy from companies which are somehow aligned with a social impact initiative. Think about Nike. It has a social impact initiative, racial justice. Think about Tom's Shoes, right? That is one company that hit the 100 million mark real quick. Why? How did they lead? They led by buy a shoe, give a shoe. What is that? Social impact. So there are techniques and tools that nonprofits and people like you and I need to use to make people feel committed to something, because one way or the other, they're going to get something out of it. Corporations are adding shareholder value. by associating with the social impact initiatives. No longer just charities. You're not just giving money away, you're adding to your brand, you see? So that's just the corporate side of it. Governments have their own interests. So it's really understanding what appeals to that section of the audience, right? What does private sector really care about? Money and adding shareholder value. What does government care about? And then going after those things is how you make people committed to the larger cause of giving back.
Indeed, ma'am. Again, it was a quite insightful answer from your side. Ma'am, one question which I would like to ask from you is that sustainable development has been defined as a development that meets the need of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. It calls for the concentrated efforts towards building an inclusive, sustainable, and resilient future for the people and planet. Now, my question to you is: do every country have to achieve all the goals?
Well, at least we can start. It's let's just think about climate change, and see where we are and be really honest about climate change. There are countries they don't really think there's a problem with climate change, and then there are countries who are doing really good for themselves. But we could always strike a middle ground, and you don't have to go after every goal. If you could, great. If you don't have the resources, start at a goal that's really important for your country. Every country is going to be different. See, every culture is going to be different. We work in 17, 18 countries. We work in many countries in Africa, Asia, Mexico, United States. Every country is different. And the leadership in that country has to decide what's more important for them, And those goals have been defined. It's really well done work to me. They've defined those goals in a way that you can pick and choose and still be on track with everyone else. And obviously there are countries in Africa where gender equality or food and hunger, those kind of things are more important right now. Countries like United States, we're talking about racial justice. So it's really what's more important for your country. And that should come from the top level leadership in every country.
Very true, ma'am. Ma'am, my next question to you is, as you have mentioned, choosing one goal to support is a good way to start and to take a specific action. However, all the goals are interlinked. So by supporting one goal, your action will have positive impact on the other goals. For example, promoting gender equality, goal 5 is in your school will help support a growing economy, goal 8, and quality education for all, goal 4. Now, my question to you is what one can do on individual level to contribute to meeting the global goals by starting with one goal. I think you have covered this in your first answer, but let's be more specific. What do you think? What are the things one can do on personal level to achieve these goals?
Time. I always tell people that, because I run nonprofits, and very often we'll meet people who say, oh, I cannot donate right now, but I would love to do something for your organization. I always say that start out with giving time, because the most important thing you can give a cause that's close to you is your time. It's not money. It's nothing else. It's your skill set and your time. Think about what you can offer to the cause. We have American Cancer Society in the United States that does a lot of good work for cancer patients. And my mom passed away of cancer 10, 11 years ago. Now, I run nonprofits, but I'm also a volunteer with them. I volunteer my time for American Cancer Society. I drive cancer patients to their treatments. It's a very easy way to contribute without having to donate money. I'm giving my time, which is very precious for me. It's extremely precious for me. But I make time once a month or once every 2 months, and I volunteer my time. I take a cancer patient to a hospital, bring them back home. So these are small things we can do. It doesn't always have to be money that you must give. The best thing to give is time, because what happens is, here's the other thing. When you start giving time to a cause that is really dear to you, you understand it. You understand it from your own perspective. It doesn't come from someone else. You're in the field, you see it, you experience it, and now you have a better understanding of what's needed. So when you are in a position to donate money, you know that it's going to the right thing in the right place.
Indeed, ma'am. I think there's a lot more to learn from you, and I think I have actually read about you a lot, and I have seen pictures of you, and which actually inspired me a lot. Ma'am, let me ask you one question: that whenever you work with on the ground level with whether it is related to education, whether it is related to equality, whether it is related to health. Ma'am, what do you feel? What are the major causes of these things? Are governments or the organization are not working towards it, or actually these things are not reaching to the ground level?
Yeah, it's greed. To be perfectly honest, it is greed. You see that United States sends out a lot of money every year. Just last year during COVID, US government, and this is just the government, not the nonprofits, the government sent millions of dollars to Africa and the sub-Saharan African countries. Um, we actually work in a slum in South Africa, which has 4,000 families. They did not see a dime of the money that was coming in from all these sources. So all the aid that goes into countries gets stuck at the top because of corruption and greed. And that's how gift is different, because we don't, as much as I have friends in government, and I work with a lot of head of states, and it's a pleasure to know these people because they're inspiring in their own ways. But when it comes to the actual work of gift, the money or the supplies or whatever it is that you donate to gift goes directly to the families. We try to cut the corruption in between, never goes into any warehouses, never goes to any government agencies. We take whatever's been given and deliver it directly to the families. So yes, to answer your question, greed. Unfortunately, people don't understand that, you're not going to go anywhere with all this money. At some point, you will have to leave everything that you've created, and you're going to die, and you're not going to take any of it with you. So what's the point? What's the point of greed and not sharing, right? But we see this over and over again in every country that we work in. The level of corruption is so bad.
Very true.
That if you get these agencies involved, and we had a case in Nigeria. So I believe it was the World Health Organization that grant or something for mosquito nets to the government there. And on the day of the event, one of the nonprofit partners that we have was supposed to distribute the mosquito nets. The nets never made it to the event. And later they found out the nets were sold on eBay. So you see how from
That's pathetic.
the grant coming down all the way into these government agencies, into entities, it gets stuck right there. It's not reaching the families that deserve it.
Indeed, ma'am. I think you have actually told what is the real problem behind it. Ma'am,
I always tell that.
that's really great of you. Ma'am, my next question to you is, or may I request you to, ma'am, actually, our mostly viewers are from the age group of 20 to 45. So, ma'am, may I request you to please, could you please ask them or give some advices how they can contribute on their personal level to make things better? You have told they can give their time, because that is the most important thing. You have told they can contribute to their neighborhood and check the things how it is they can contribute on their level. But apart from these things, what do you think, what are the things one need or one can do on their personal level when suppose one is studying or one is not having good enough amount of money, because at this level we cannot expect that one to be very much so much rich. So we can say that what are the things one can do?
Okay, let me just start with saying that time is definitely the most important thing you can give. Also, becoming aware and engaged. I want more younger people to be engaged and not be self-centered and only think about my career or where I'm going headed in life, because there will come a point in your life where you look back on the 10-15 years where you didn't really give back, and you would think to yourself, I wish I had started before. Because it really doesn't take money. It really doesn't take a lot of money to do good. What it takes is a heart that wants to give. I have a volunteer, and I'll give you this example. I have a volunteer who with gift for many years. And she used to sponsor a child for school. And midway through the year, school year, she was diagnosed with cancer, the volunteer. And it was very severe, I think second or third stage cancer. So she stopped volunteering because she was going through treatments and she couldn't afford to sponsor the child. Throughout the last 3 or 4 years, she's been struggling with cancer. Every month I see a donation coming from her. It's $5 or $2 or $1. She makes sure that she's sending that money. It takes a good
Yes.
to make that. If you're going to spend $10 on yourself, I'm sure you can spend 50 cents
Yes.
on a child somewhere, right? You are going to stand in a lineup to buy a new Apple phone, aren't you?
Yes.
Again, questioning yourself, like we get all these questions from people about when people want to donate, they have a ton of questions. And I always wonder if people ask similar questions to companies like Apple or Amazon when they're buying products for themselves, right? And I wish people would understand that running a nonprofit is not just because it's nonprofit organization doesn't mean a nonprofit should be poor. You see, nonprofits are in the business of helping others. So it's very important that it's sustainable, which also means we run a nonprofit like any other company. It takes a lot of effort. Just being mindful and aware. And if you are expecting nonprofits to do the work for free, ask yourself if you would be okay donating to that nonprofit or any other nonprofit. And if you feel like you're not going to donate, let them do what they're doing. And I'm not saying that don't ask questions. That's the other thing too. When you donate to a nonprofit, I want people to ask the right questions. I want people to ask the right questions. And the right questions are, I'll tell you what you should always ask a nonprofit. You should ask them, if I give you $1, how much of that $1 goes to a program and how much of that $1 goes for operational costs? You should be accepting of the fact that there are going to be operational costs to running any company, correct? So becoming more aware, becoming mindful about giving, asking the right questions, do your research. If you have $1 to donate, don't just give it to one organization, split it between organizations, because different nonprofits do different kinds of work. And all those things are equally important. A great example of that, we were in Lebanon last year after the explosion, and Lebanese Red Cross raised a lot of donations because of the explosion. Now, the Red Cross is a first responder nonprofit, meaning they show up right after any emergency or any disaster. They provide food, medical supplies, anything that's needed in the first couple of weeks after the disaster. Then they leave. But there's reconstruction work that's left. So see, there are other nonprofits who are building streets, they're building buildings, they're doing a lot of other things which are needed to bring the city back up and alive. But if you have $1 and you gave it to the Lebanese Red Cross, there are other nonprofits who are also doing equally important work, and they're not going to be able to raise as much money. So ask the right questions. Okay, it really doesn't come down to money at all. It's really asking questions, getting engaged, giving your time, doing your research, and making sure that you actually, if you are a business person, if you have a business, making sure that you're not looking at charity as just giving away money, but thinking about it as like adding value to your brand. We did a commercial for Coke in Mexico because they donate money for solar lights. And we created a nice social impact commercial for them. And think about it, you have seen Coca-Cola ads, and every time it's the same ad. It's like beautiful women drinking Coke or whatever, celebrities drinking Coke. It's old, it's boring. Sure, it doesn't excite you, but when you see a social impact ad that catches your eyesight, you will make sure that you watch it one more time to understand what that ad was about.
Yes.
So that's social impact branding. So if you're a corporation, if you're a young leader starting your own company, think about including a social impact initiative in your business plan. That will go a long way.
Indeed, ma'am. Again, it was a very excellent answer from your side. And I think the viewers who are watching this session, they are surely going to inspire from this. Not only I think, but I do strongly believe this, and truly I'm very much impressed from your this answer. And my next question to you is, what do you think? How technology will be an enabler to overcoming these challenges?
I mean, I love social media. I can tell you that. Without social media, it's really difficult to educate and create awareness. Social media also opens up, and I'm talking technology in terms of social media for the time being, but there are other things technology wise which are, way useful in my field of work. But just Facebook, how did you find me? You found me on LinkedIn probably,
Yes,
or
LinkedIn.
Instagram or Facebook, right? We would never meet if it wasn't for technology.
Yes.
And I don't look at technology as an evil. I know people do. People look at Facebook and they think like, oh, these people are gathering data. Or I click on an ad and all I see is this dress or this shoe all the time. We are focused in my field of work. We are using those platforms to educate that's suffering somewhere in Mexico. You would never find out about it, you see. And social media allows me to do that. So I don't look at technology as a challenge. I actually look at technology as something which is helping reach those goals that we have.
Indeed, ma'am, you have said a lot of things, and I'm sure the viewers those who are watching this session, they are surely going to find us amazing. Ma'am, I'm sure there's a lot more to learn from you, but today I don't want to take too much of your time. So moving to my last question of this session, or actually I'm just seeking advice. What are the some advices would you like to give to all the viewers those who are watching this session so that they can learn and work on their level to make this world a better place?
Well, I will repeat my advice and I'll say that humans are wired to give. Remember that. When you give, you feel good. When you feel good, it will attract abundance in your life. So everyone hears about law of attraction and secret. And what does that say? It says that if you feel good, then you're going to attract good things in your life. How do you feel good? You feel good by doing good. What does that mean? Doing good means giving your time to a cause that is really close to your heart. Go volunteer your time or give money. If you have money, donate money or donate your supplies, clothes, shoes, whatever it is. Do something good because that's going to put you in a mindset of success. It's going to make you really happy, joyful, peaceful. And that's exactly what attracts success in life, is that state of mind. It's not your ability, but your state of mind.
Indeed, ma'am, it was really a very wonderful advice from your side. And thank you so much, ma'am, for joining and giving your important time. It was a kind of healthy conversation with you over the topic. We look forward to conduct more such sessions with you in future. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
On the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold outside, I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside, I'm alone.